Hello, thanks for joining me, astrologer Patrick Arundell, for your July monthly forecast for the Sun or the Ascendant. If you're new to my channel, I'd be delighted if you would subscribe or click on the like button. Also, if you want to download your free natal horoscope, see the link beneath this video and discover all your natal positions. Of course, if you want your 12-month forecast and character analysis and get 30% off with my special offer, please also see that link. And finally, if you want to sign up for your free daily horoscope, which will go through to your device each and every morning, please also see that link too. But that brings us to this month. So what does July hold in store? Hello Gemini, and welcome to your monthly horoscope for July. So as we enter month 7, the Sun, which is at the heart, the engine of all our activities, for you is in the sign of Cancer. So that's very much about the foundations of life. It's about everyday money. It can be about our self-worth. But the Sun in this location, particularly supported by a glorious new moon on the 10th, gives you the chance to build up your resources. But your great gift is communication. But your ruler Mercury, as this month begins, is in your sign. So there may be a project that you started about 8 weeks ago that's gone through some changes, perhaps some frustrations. There may have been some adjustments, blockages, but actually Mercury is moving forwards this month, and it does on the 11th make its way into the sign of Cancer, and you could start to see the benefits of a lot of hard work. But just before then, it is challenged again by the dreamy influence of Neptune. So make sure the details of any project that you're working on are crystal clear in order that you can capitalize on your financial prospects. But it's also true to say that in the first 10 days of this month, the Sun is forging a really important link with Uranus. Now, Uranus has been quite mischievous for you, Geminis. It's been affecting your nervous system quite a bit. But this angle between the Sun and Uranus, suggests that you could have a brainwave, and it may be linked to a past association, a past skill, but it can be redeployed, or this relationship reignited, but in a new way. And you could be quite delighted because this can bring about some financial improvements in a very unexpected manner. But Mars and Venus are going to be in a conjunction pretty well all through this month, but it's quite tight for the first 3 weeks of July. Now, Venus is about being charming in terms of its interaction with people. It's about finding harmony. It can also be to do with design and artistry, but also it can be to do with money. And Mars is combining with Venus in the sign of Leo. So your ability to be very persuasive and charming could really hit the sweet spot when it comes to your love life this month. The first 3 weeks particularly, there is a bit of a snare up with Saturn and Uranus early on in the month. And as you know, those two have been in a right angle since the second week of January, causing a lot of frustration. Especially if you feel the truth of a situation isn't getting out there, and in some way or another you can't get other people to hear where you're coming from. Now, they're actually going to separate from the 22nd, and they're not going to come back into direct conflict until the last 5 weeks of the year, which we can all really celebrate. But they are tangling a bit with Venus and Mars at the start of this month. But I want you to know that Venus and Mars together in your 3rd house means that if you're single, the chances of you connecting to someone, particularly through technology, if you desire to do so, is very strong. If that's not your cup of tea, it could be through a sibling or a mutual friend or neighbour who makes an introduction. But don't be surprised that your way of thinking and speaking and being has quite a major magnetic impact on someone you encounter. It's that good. Now, as I said before, your finances can really improve with Uranus in a great link with the Sun. And then on the 10th with the new moon and Mercury, your ruler, moving into Cancer on the 11th, after quite a lot of frustration over the last few months, I think you can start to see how things are firming up in a much more stable way, which is absolutely delightful. But also from the 12th through to the 18th, your your kindness, particularly to those who are not so fortunate, can really shine out like a beacon. You may find yourself giving money to charity, doing some kind of fundraiser, maybe just in a very subtle, even private way, donate some goods, perhaps to a recycling centre or a charity shop that can generate funds for that good cause. But something you do that's very imaginative from the 12th to the 18th can help others, and that's absolutely lovely. So on the 17th, there's the second quarter moon of the month. This one occurs in your sister air sign of Libra. The fifth house is all about extravagance, playfulness, creativity, showing off, fun, joy. But the sun in the second house at this point is in your sector of resources. So you could find someone close to you ask for some financial help, or you may want to be very generous, particularly if your finances have improved, as we hope they do, with all that good energy coming in this month. However, on the 22nd, the sun moves into Leo, its home zone, very radiant here. And for you, this just gives you even more desire to chat, to mingle, to really showcase those very Gemini energies. You've got an incredible ability to get on with lots of different types of people. I really admire that about Geminis. You can flex, and it doesn't matter if some people are very different to you. You can find a way to, in some way, connect. But ironically, just as the sun moves into that bright zone, so Venus moves out of that zone and into a calmer, slower, more reflective area, the fourth house. But I just feel if there has been someone that you've been chatting with that you really like, you may want to get to know them more, but in a bit more of a relaxed way. Perhaps invite them around for something to eat. Perhaps go for a walk in the countryside. If you're quite happy in your romantic situation, you may decide to use Venus in this sector to redecorate, to change where you're living, buy some furnishings, in some way create a more soothing ambience. If you have an outdoor space, that can also bring a great deal of rewards. But on the 24th, there is a full moon in your other sister air sign of Aquarius. But it's only 1 degree. The only aspect it really forges is a semi-sextile with Jupiter, which can be lucky. So your idea zone is really set alight by this full moon across the 3rd and 9th house axis. The 3rd house is everyday communication. The 9th house of Aquarius is where you feel more principled, your higher values. But because that's linking brilliantly to Venus, just at 1 degree in the sign of Pisces, a conversation you have in the following couple of weeks can be lucky as far as your professional circumstances are concerned. On the 28th, Jupiter rewinds back into Aquarius. It won't go back into Pisces until the last 3 days of the year. But this, for you, is the sector of travel. And obviously, we're all hoping that things will ease to some degree. The chances are it's going to continue to be a series of easing, restriction, until the levels of COVID really come down much more globally. But for you personally, if you can find a way to be freer, more independent, check out some study, then Jupiter moving back into Aquarius for the second half of this year is a real good news story. The 28th sees Mercury move into Leo. This is terrific for you because this just adds even more nimbleness to the way you communicate. It really can be a glorious month of communication for you, as well as improving your finances. But on the 29th, Mars joins up with Venus again, but in the sign of Virgo. So if you want to make those home changes, this is going to see you really busy, whether it's doing some physical renovations, ripping out a bathroom, putting in a new one, building walls, taking walls down, those kind of adjustments, you can have a lot of drive around. But also Mars moving into the fourth house could make you a little bit more defensive around your emotional situation, but that's something that I'll lean into and explain more for the forecast for August. But generally this can be a very bright month for you. It does challenge perhaps the quality of your relationships, but most of all because you need to be associating with people who switch you on. So even if you're very fond of someone, if they genuinely, I don't mean this unkindly, really don't excite you and you find your attention is wandering, try to spend time with people who really uplift you, provide spark, but also your creativity and ingenuity can bring extra finance into your situation this month.